Hello, welcome to one of Leanne's videos. It's me on my own, so I said I'd film on her behalf. So this is what we're dealing with. They've got a full new quarter panel, so it comes all the way down to the tail light, all under here, all the way down here. And the quarter panel that we've got does go inside the door shut all the way down. I'm going to cut the quarter about 3 to 4 inches away from the door shut because it's very awkward to cut all the way down in the door shut and then follow that with welding. First things first, I'm going to take this inner trim out. Yeet! Right, so with that inner trim out, I'm going to move on to the back end and take the tail lights out, remove the rear bumper, then I can actually line the quarter up and then mark out where I'm cutting it. Lined up roughly where we need to be. Our new quarter, just like any other sort of aftermarket-ish parts, they typically don't fit like factory, so the fitment isn't 100% right. But when I butt the tail light up, the new inner shut, 3mm, maybe 5mm too short to the original quarter. Fortunately, I'm not doing the door shut anyway. Tabs underneath the quarter, these ones, stop me from putting the quarter panel flush to the bottom line, so I am just going to remove it just in case the quarter is a millimetre too low, and then obviously I'm going to have to weld that gap up rather than it being barred up flush. Now, what we're left with is a nice straight line ready for us to cut. I've marked at the bottom of the quarter down here where I'm also cutting. Some weird reason in my head thought that the new quarter had the bottom part of the sill as well. Luckily we have got a sill, but it's not here with me today. I've marked at the bottom of the quarter panel where I need to cut. I'm still going to weld everywhere else, just won't weld at the bottom until I've got that new sill and I can butt them up together and weld along there. And then obviously all this is going to be getting chopped out. Then we can take a look at the inner arch and see what condition that's in. Time to cut. With the new quarter panel, I was originally going to try and get a full metal finish with no filler whatsoever, but there is like a slight lip on where we're about to do the welding. It's sort of like a little hill and it comes back up. So unfortunately, that is probably going to need a little bit of skim filler just over the welds just to fill that little dent. It's got a couple of divots here and there. I will see what I can do to prevent the amount of filler I want to put in the arch. If that's what it needs, that is what it needs. Due to the wide angle lens, I have noticed that this line does not look straight, but believe it or not, it is actually a right angle with the top and the bottom. Normally jack the car up, put on axle stands, take the wheel off. Due to these being scrapper wheels, and the tyres aren't any good, as you can clearly see, none of that bothers me. Right, so when you're doing this, don't do me. Make sure if you are going to hold this metal that you're wearing the right gloves. You're probably wondering, Charlie, why did you cut along here? Because you didn't say anything about that. And you would be right. I didn't say anything about this. What there are spot welds all down here in this inner arch, which is fine, and we will be drilling them out just to get the core off the car. I thought for now, I'll cut along there so I can quickly see the condition of the inners, and then now I'll go back round. I wanted to make sure that this wasn't all rotten first. If all this was rotten, then I was to cut it all out anyway. I'd waste so much time drilling all these spot welds out. So all this looks good. Obviously a lot of this is just surface rust and it's not actually rot. So I'm going to clean it all up and we'll underseal all of this. We'll grind all these spot welds out, and then it's time to weld a new one in. I'm not currently filming most of this because it's pretty boring stuff. I've just got a flat disc or grinding disc, but not a cutting disc, it's a grinding disc. And I'm literally just grinding each of these spot welds out because it's much faster and easier than getting a spot weld and drill bit. They do work, but we've got quite a lot of spot welds to go through, and in my experience, they don't tend to last very long. I mean, just to do these and the other side, I'd probably need maybe 3 to 4 drill bits. Just to show you what I have been doing, grinding all these little spot welds out, and you can see the little spot welds in the reflection of the light. I've obviously only got to go to here because the rest of it is non-existent. Bear in mind that I'm not wanting to damage the inner arch when doing this. Just make sure that you're not going all the way through that first skin, the weld and the inner skin. So you want to go through the weld and the outer skin and then leave the inner arch intact. All you've got is grinding marks, but it hasn't gone all the way through here. The metal here isn't indented at all, and you haven't lost any of the structural integrity of any of these spot welds. Now you can see some close-ups of the inner arch. This is typically what you're going to see. I've got some rust down here, but obviously as you can see right in there, it's not rotten at all. I did mention earlier that I am actually going to replace this part of the sill along with this, and then take that off, and I'm going to fabricate it out of just a normal piece of metal. I have actually got a sill already. Again, this is perfectly strong, it just looks quite rusty. Obviously this is actually rotten, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down here and then along here. I'm going to take this away. Similar type of thing where I'm just going to fabricate a new part here. Before I get too carried away with cutting stuff up and start tidying up all this area, I am going to do a quick test fit of the quarter panel just to make sure that all my cuts and stuff are all in the right place. Right, so as you can see, when I hold the bottom in place, this cut down here is all nice and flush, and it's all nice and flush all the way to the back of the tail light. Right, that is it for me today. I've got as far as cutting the quarter out. The only other thing that I've done is took the aerial out, because I'll be welding a blank into there. So next time I'm going to be cutting out some of this and making up little brackets. Leanne might be here, she might not be. Remaking a few bits and bobs, because it seems pointless replacing the whole inner skin, the under seal, pretty much the whole of the inner skin, and then we're all ready to go with the outer quarter. It's all going well so far. Surprisingly, I expected a lot worse. I mean, the car was off the road for 16 odd years. The underneath generally looks fairly solid from what I've seen so far. It's good to see that it's not too bad in here. So please like, subscribe, comment down below. What do you want to see done to the Prelude? What colour would you like to see it? What wheels are going on it? Let's hear your thoughts. Is there anything that you think that we should do to the car that isn't already in our plans? How-tos, tutorials, anything. Thanks for watching.